Module 4, Systems Thinking, Part 2. Developed by Jan Smuts in the 1920s, contemporary systems thinking is a de facto cross-disciplinary approach to bringing discipline to the chaos of overlapping systems. Sometimes taking a bird's-eye view helps you to see patterns and connections that wouldn't be obvious, discernible, or even discoverable on the ground. Wikipedia, that brave experiment in collective intelligence, says, quote, "For some, systems thinking is the cognitive process of studying and understanding systems of every kind. For others, the focus is integrating information from different sources and different types. A system may be defined in general as a set of interrelated or interacting elements. This definition accommodates both passive structures, for example, a necklace or the Dewey Decimal System, and active structures. However, most systems theorists focus on activity systems in which structures or components interact in behaviors and processes." End quote. Biology is the obvious candidate for productive systems thinking because of the sheer complexity of the behaviors and processes involved in sustaining life. But the more our machines grow in complexity, the more systems thinking has been embraced by engineers, particularly as artificial intelligence expands. Formal systems theory, as we know it, was expanded in 1940 by the biologist Culhane and became part of the new science of cybernetics thanks to Ross Ashby in the 1950s. In his 1956 classic An Introduction to Cybernetics, which defined the field with its section Cybernetics and Requisite Variety, important because it embraced diversity, Ashby wrote, quote, "It has been found repeatedly in science that the discovery that two branches are related leads to each branch helping in the development of the other. The result is often a markedly accelerated growth of both. The infinitesimal calculus and astronomy, the virus and the protein molecule, the chromosomes and heredity are examples that come to mind. Neither, of course, can give proofs about the laws of the other, but each can give suggestions that may be of the greatest assistance and fruitfulness. Here I need only mention the fact that cybernetics is likely to reveal a great number of interesting and suggestive parallelisms between machine and brain and society, and it can provide the common language by which discoveries in one branch can be readily made use of in the others." Ashby talked about the complexities of the system. He wrote, "The second peculiar virtue of cybernetics is that it offers a method for the scientific treatment of the system in which complexity is outstanding and too important to be ignored. Such systems are, as we well know, only too common in the biological world. In the simpler systems, the methods of cybernetics sometimes show no obvious advantage over those that have been long known. It is chiefly when the systems become complex that the new methods reveal their power. Science," he said, "stands today on something of a divide. For 2 centuries, it has been exploring systems that are either intrinsically simple or that are capable of being analyzed into simple components. The fact that such a dogma as vary the factors one at a time could be accepted for a century shows that scientists were largely concerned in investigating such systems as allowed this method, for this method is often fundamentally impossible in the complex systems. Not until Sir Ronald Fisher's work in the 20s, with experiments conducted on agricultural soils, did it become clearly recognized that there are complex systems that just do not allow the varying of only one factor at a time. They are so dynamic and interconnected that the alteration of one factor immediately acts as cause to evoke alterations in others, perhaps in a great many others. Until recently, science tended to evade the study of such systems, focusing its attention on those that were simple and, especially, reducible. In the study of some systems, however, the complexity could not be wholly evaded. The cerebral cortex of the free living organism, the anthill as a functioning society, and the human economic system were outstanding both in their practical importance and in their intractability by the older methods. So today we see psychoses untreated, societies declining, and economic systems faltering, the scientist being able to do little more than to appreciate the full complexity of the subject he is studying. But science today is also taking the first steps towards studying complexity as a subject in its own right." End quote. In the popular book The Fifth Discipline by Peter Senge, systems thinking was defined as the capstone for true organizational learning, and thus no graduate studies would be complete, nor could we conscience graduating any student without a thorough understanding of the importance and the application of systems thinking. Some say it is something we need now to hit everyone over the head with as often as possible until it is firmly embedded there. Another approach suggests that if we simply allowed students to observe the complexities of the world with natural curiosity and didn't straitjacket your thoughts with reductionism and inadequate frameworks and impoverished concepts and stultifying vocabulary, everyone would end up a systems thinker. This goes back to my point about using the word waste. If you didn't have a container in your mind for this prejudiced concept, if you didn't have essentially a garbage bin in your head, you would naturally start thinking of what else could be done with the outputs of any given system. There would be no away to throw things, no grave for the dead. In fact, the word and concept dead are also what I describe as evil ideas that inhibit systems thinking. Without these conceptual dead ends inhibiting thought and creativity, systems thinking, I allege, should just happen. The book Systems Thinking Made Simple, and despite its ability to tackle complex systems, it really is simple, claimed that systems thinking itself is the emergent property of any complex adaptive system. It says that systems thinking is a natural behavior that results from 4 simple rules of thought. Of course, when pieces of the puzzle are missing, it can be impossible to see the forest for the trees.